Imagine being very rich one minute and then having nothing the next. That was my fate. My name is Job. I was the owner of huge land plots, many farms, and a big, happy family. Faith and honesty were important parts of my life. How can one event change the whole course of a person's life? One terrible day, while my kids were having a party, other agents came with terrible news. Attacks I didn't expect scared my animals and workers, and a fire from the sky burned down my trees. The tragedy ended when all of my children were killed by a tornado that hit the house where they were gathering. I tore my clothes and cried out in pain because I was upset, but I wouldn't give up my faith. Before the chaos, my wife tried to get me to question God, but I stayed true to myself and accepted both good and evil with acceptance. What can we learn about faith from pain? When I was sad, my close friends Eliphaz, Bildad, and Zophar came to comfort me. But even though they meant well, their words made me think that I earned my pain for sins they didn't know about. They told me I had to admit sins I didn't have in order to get God's forgiveness. This part of my life makes me think about painful things. Why do the good people have to deal with so many problems? In the midst of pain, I face it in search of a bigger purpose, even though everything around me seems to be falling apart. This is where my faith is put to the test. Please subscribe to our channel and turn on the warning bell so you don't miss any videos. If Job's journey moves you and you want to read more stories like this, click on the link below. Please click like if you enjoy this story about Job. Let's keep reading the story. Job's pain got worse when his friends Bildad, Zophar, and Eliphaz told him that all of these terrible things happened because of his own mistakes. Bildad said that my kids were to blame for their own problems, and Zophar questioned my honesty and said that what I said was just empty words. Zophar yelled, "Oh, how I long for God himself to speak and show me the hidden wisdom of the heavens." He was sure that his pain was caused by his past sins. Trust me, if I truly apologized, my life would be fixed and forgotten like the water that flows by. Their false charges drove me crazy, and I lost my temper. Are you the ones who keep things wise? But I can also understand, I answered, supporting my honesty against what they said. They were supposed to comfort me, but instead they were critical, which made my pain worse. In order to speak directly to the Almighty, I said that I would continue to wait on him and protect my actions, even if it meant death. It was a statement of unwavering faith, even in the face of terrible hardship. The thing I wanted was easy. God, let go of my hand and let me talk. What am I doing wrong, and what are the risks? The cry for a direct conversation with God was the last thing I could do to figure out why I was living in pain. I didn't agree with the idea that God favored bad people while I, a good person, suffered unfairly. The pain in my body was terrible. I had sores all over my body. It was just as cruel on a social level. Because my existence made people uncomfortable, I was shunned by the society. I was upset that even the young people made fun of me because I knew that the disaster had changed every part of my life. In this situation of utter hopelessness, it looked like hope was far away. However, things went in a strange direction when the Lord finally stepped in. God stepped in at this very important moment, which held the hope of revelations and maybe even salvation. As I waited, I stayed true to myself by not admitting any wrongdoing that wasn't true and kept my innocence until the end. It was hard, not only because I was hurting, but also because everyone around me didn't understand and judged me too quickly. In the last part of Job's story, we meet a man who is going through a lot of pain and is thinking deeply about fairness and God's presence. During his pain, Job cried out for answers. He wanted to know why he was in so much pain. After years of pleading to hear God's words, the time had finally come. God answered Job, but not by telling him directly what was going on in his life. Instead, God asked him a number of questions that showed how great and in charge God is in the world. "Were you not where I was when I built the earth?" asked God, pointing out that the world is so ordered and complicated that it's beyond our knowledge. God told Job about creation, from how the earth was formed to how he rules over the sea. He wanted Job to understand that God's knowledge is unmatched and beyond understanding. When Job saw how great and powerful God was, he realized how small and powerless he was. "I am not worthy." He admitted it because he knew that his words were not enough to match God's knowledge. Because Job was humble and knew he was wrong, he pulled back and put his hand over his mouth to show respect and duty. Job's recovery started with a stern warning from God to his friends, who, even though they meant well, did not correctly reflect God's character and justice. God told Job to pray for them, which shows that divine mercy never ends, even when people don't understand how he works. Job's luck changed dramatically after he prayed for his friends. Not only did God fix him, but he also gave him the last few years of his life, which were worth many times what he had before. With 14,000 kisses, 6,000 roads and other things, the sale was a real sign that God's favor had been returned. What's more, the support of his community, family and friends, who came to give him gifts and treats, strengthened the ties that pain had tried. Job's story ends with a note of forgiveness and hope. He lived to see the next generation and was known as a man of strong faith and honesty. His last word to his readers is a call to think and have hope. Job tells us that even in the worst times, having faith in God can bring healing and wins that go beyond what we thought our problems were. It's thought about what faith, pain and salvation are all about. Job's journey is a strong lesson that God is always with us and will keep his promises. Even when life's worst storms happen, we can find hope and renewal in God. We hope that the story of Job has given you strength and hope. Click like on the movie and share it with friends who might also connect with the message. Write a statement below about how this story has made you feel. Thank you for reading this amazing story all the way to the end. God bless you always. Amen.